So I've been asked recently how to accompany a singer who requires you to play a song that you know in a different key. And is there a simple way to be able to transpose a song? Now, you might be able to do this on the spot with a bit of practice, but I'll show you how you can at least do that practice. It all comes back to major scale mastery. Everything comes back to major scales. So I'm going to take you through some of those points and recommend some other videos. And it comes down to also the chord progression numerically. So let's take Fly Me to the Moon as an example. The chord progression, you might just know it in letters. A, minor 7, D, minor 7, G, 7, C major 7, upper 4th, F major 7. But that's not how you learn jazz songs. I'm going to redo some videos on this topic, but you learn them in numbers. You discover the master key of the piece, which is key of C, Fly Me to the Moon, and you identify the chord progression numerically based on the major scale. So because it's A, that's not the point, it's a 6. So the letter is very much secondary, it's almost not important. All the songs I know in my head, I know by number sequence, not because I've remembered the letters. So for me, I'm just seeing a 6 here. I can enhance the chord how I want, that's the next thing I'm going to talk about. But I know it's 6, 2. And the whole piano becomes the 2 chord. Doesn't matter where I play it, all the way up here, it doesn't matter where I play it, the bass. And then the 5 is G, simple chord. Of course you can embellish it, play nice chords, but the point is it's 6, 2, 5, 1, and then it's going 4. So I'll just go to that point in this song. Now let's just, I've never played this in, I don't know, well, I haven't played it in any other keys. Let's play it in the key of A flat. So because I know it's 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, and I know the chord type, major or minor, I can just do that now in the key of A flat. So that would be 6 is F minor 7, because I know the major scale of A flat. So it's F minor 7, so 6, 2, 5, upper 4th, up to D flat. Let's do it in the key of E. Nothing's written in the key of E, really. So 6, 2, 5, 1. I hope I don't have a problem with this loud note, so I'll try to avoid playing that C sharp down here. 6, 2, 5, 1. Upper 4th. Up to A. So it really doesn't matter what the song is, what the key is. Because I have absolute major scale mastery, like I always want everyone to have who's on this channel, and you know the chord progression, you just put them together. It's literally 1 + 2 = 3. So I wanted to talk about major scales quickly and how to drill them. There's only 12 starting points. Of course, you can label some of them differently, so there's more than 12 keys technically, but so, you know, what would you like D sharp, E flat, F sharp, G flat, etc. But the shape is still the same. So you need to spend at least a week drilling the shapes everywhere. You don't have to play them super fast. You can play them how you want. I like to say use and abuse major scales, which means you can use them for technical exercises. That's another video topic completely, and I have videos on that. But at least just come to the piano and just drill the shapes like this. Of course, when you're away from the piano, you also need to reinforce the shapes, because that's where you get to the sort of higher frequency stuff, where you're not just seeing the shape, but you're getting a feeling. So when I'm playing, I'm not really seeing even shapes, really. I'm just feeling the key that I'm in. Every one I can associate words with, and places and people and all these kind of things. So if you say, like B flat, for example, that takes me to Canada, because to the west, well, to Vancouver Island to be specific, because I learnt 1 or 2 songs in the key of B flat there, and even if I knew 1 or 2 before I went to Canada, for some reason B flat takes me all the way back to Canada. E flat's the first key that I really learnt songs in. E takes me to San Francisco, because I learnt a song. It takes me back to my first lesson, my first realization of extensions, because I learnt the 9 chord, where you go outside the octave, which is 8 notes, and you keep going up that key, 9, and I discovered that you can put that on top of regular chords. And that song is called Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, where I learned that from. And the first time I heard that was when I was in San Francisco on a boat cruise. So E just kind of goes back to there. And that shape, I don't know, it just takes me, it's just a San Francisco shape, you know, sitting on the dock of the bay. So each one has a personal connection to me, and I feel like I'm in that key. And even if it's temporary, if it's just a chord for just a moment, if I play B major 7, I'm in the key of B, and it just feels like the key of B. It's not even about the shape. Go to D. I just feel like I'm in the key of D. It's just there. So you want to get to that point, and that can come quite quickly. Once you know the major scale shapes, you then at least need to know the major and minor triads in each of those shapes, which is just a case of sitting down and doing it. There's no way around it, really. You just go up chromatically and get used to the major and minor triads with both hands, of course. Because you don't have 2 hands, you have 10 fingers. Doesn't matter what fingers playing what notes. Etc. And you can play them in all the different ways, of course. Do it with stride. Yeah, do it however you want. But you have to get the major and minor shapes at least. Then you need to learn the major 7 shape on top of the major triad, the dominant 7, which is the flat 7 on top of the major triad, and then the minor 7. So it's the minor triad with the flat 7 on top. The minor major 7 is the least common, so don't worry about it too much. But you can put it in your repertoire, in your vocabulary if you want to. So again, go around playing those. You just have to know those shapes on top of that. So once you've done all of that, you then will be more ready to approach a song, learn it numerically, studying it. I have some videos, I'll find them and link them below. And that's just what you do. So when I learn a new song, do I have anything nearby? I do not, unfortunately. But when I want to learn a new song, I identify where the 2-5-1 progression is. If it's a 6-2-5-1, I identify what I call floating 2-5-1s, where the 2 and the 5 and the 1 still exist as a 2-5-1, but the 1 isn't the 1 of the key of the piece. So in the key of C, that's the 1. But you can get a 2-5-1 that lands on something else, for example, the 4. So F is the 4. In the key of C, you never lose the master key of the piece. So F is coming up, but there's 2 chords before it, and it's going to be F's own 2-5-1, which would be G, minor 7, C7, and then F. And that happens a lot. So instead of learning lines and lines of almost disconnected chords, you're just going to learn a song. It might just go 1, 2, 5, 1, and then it might go 2, 5, 1 to the 4. So it might go 1. Let's say it's a 6th chord. This is not a song, I'm just playing it. Then it might go to 2. Playing a minor 6 again. Then it might go to 5, G7. Fine. Back to 1. Then it might go 2, 5, 1 onto F. C7. Onto F. Then it might do another one. It might do another 2-5-1 onto B flat. C minor 7, F7. Then it might go to B flat minor instead of the 1, which is quite a common thing to happen. So you'll just remember these things as that would be, for example, 1, 2, 5, 1. So you remember that, and then 2-5-1 to the 4, and then another 2-5-1 to the 4 above. But that one is going to be played as a minor. So if I can remember that as a sequence I've just created and do that now in the key of G. So in the key of G, so it went 1. Then it went to 2. Went to 5. Then it went to 2-5-1 to the 4. So the 4 is C. So we're going to do C's 2-5-1. Now let's say it does another one, which is another 4 up, which is onto the F, but it's going to go to the minor. So just imagine a song did that. So now you can do that in any key. I don't have to go through all the keys, but you get to B flat. I'll do it a bit more quickly. B flat, then it went up to the 2, then the 5, 1. Now the 4th is E flat, so we're going to do E flats 2-5-1. Now 4 up again is A flat, so A flat's 2, 5, 1. But we're not landing on A flat major 7, we're landing on the minor. So you see what I mean? You're just applying that, and then, so you've got your major scale mastery, and you're very familiar with all the shapes. You get your major and minor triads mastered in all the keys. You add some 7s. You have to know the chords. And then you master the chord progressions and get used to blocks of chord progressions, which is very often 2, 5, 1. Well, basically 2, 5, 1, and then you're moving from 1 and then up a fourth. That happens, that's like 80-90% of jazz music, to be honest. Just 6, 2, 5, 1, 4. It's basically all you ever need. And a 2, 5, 1 onto another note, which is not the 1. So the most common for that is to happen onto the 2nd, the 3rd and the 4th, and the 6th. That happens the most. Maybe the 3rd is the least, but at least 2, 4, 6, you'll get a 2, 5, 1 onto the 2nd, onto the 4th, or onto the 6th. So that's it. I have another video, and I'd like to close by saying that you should learn at least 1 or 2 fancy chords or fixed favourite positions. Even if you listen to Oscar Peterson, Bill Evans, all the greats, even they have fixed chord types that they like, fixed runs that they like. Even them, it's not all new for 60 years of being a musician. It's they always have their little anchor points. So I have a video, and I'll just give you some quick examples of my favourite shapes on particular notes. It doesn't matter where it is in a song. So what were we doing earlier? We played, for example, B flat. When we played a B flat as the 5 of E flat, there's a nice chord on B flat which I like to play, which is this shape. So I'm playing B flat, I'm playing the 5. My ring finger is not playing the D, the 3rd, because my right hand is. This is just like in my muscle. I hate the word muscle memory, but it's just a familiar shape. It's a 5 chord. So it's a B flat, an F, and an A flat, which is the 7 chord. This is B flat 7. It would normally be with a D in it, of course, which is a little bit dull. So I take out the 3rd. My right hand is playing beyond the octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but flattened. The D is here, it's the 3, because it just sounds nicer to open a chord. It's called a voicing. And then the G is the 13. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 is a nice note to put on top of a 7 chord alone, but it's a little bit sparse. So you put the 3 in here, and then you can put the flat 9 here. That's all the fancy jazz stuff. That's where that comes from. But if you can just remember that shape, you'll just play it, as long as you understand the theory behind it, and then just get so familiar with it that you just play it. You're in the key of E flat, 6, 2, 5. Your fingers just land on it. So that's a favourite one on the key of B flat, for example. I'll give you another one on the key of A, which I like to do a lot. It's this shape. This one. I think, oh goodness, what's this? It's a bit complicated, but I'm just saying, spend some time to get used to some favourite shapes on each note. And I have a whole video on that, I'll link it. So here we've got the 7 on the bottom. We've got the A in the root, but on the chord part, the voicing, we've got the G, the dominant 7. This is the flat 9, because A is 8, it's the octave. B is 9 from the major scale. It's all from the major scale. B flat is a flat 9. C sharp is the 3rd, but it's moved from here up here, because it's nice to move the 3rd around. And then on top is the 6, or the 13. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's an A, 13, flat 9. Very fancy, which is actually the same one I'm doing in B flat. I realised it, but I hadn't realised. I didn't do it on purpose now, because that's a nice 5 chord. So yeah, that's a nice one. It's a different voicing shape than the B flat one, but it's still the same chord type, I guess. Because that one starts on the right hand plays the flat 9, whereas on the right hand on the A one it's the 7, which is first. Anyway, you get the idea. So that's quite nice. So for each, this is all the below the surface of the sea. You've got the iceberg philosophy, 10% above, 90% below. All this is the 90% below stuff. I wasn't born with this knowledge. I remember being in the practice rooms at school, learning all the major scales. I wasn't trying to play them quickly. I was just looking at them, seeing them, learning them with my eyes. And learning many things with my eyes before I actually, in my mind, in my internal piano. And then I would go to the piano. And I honestly remember just sitting there, staring at a lead sheet for a song. Trying to think of what song I learned at that. There was a language teacher there who asked me to learn a song called "Can't Help Loving That Man of Mine." And I haven't thought about this memory for about 30 years. Well, 20, however many years it is, when I was 13, 14. And he asked me to play it. It's in the key of E flat. And I think the melody goes... something. It's in E flat. It was going. Is this a 1? G flat there. So very simple, but the chord progression is just 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, dominant 7 up a 4. The 4 goes to a minor 7, which is very, very common. And then again, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. So this is the time when I was just starting to realise, hang on, all these songs are the same, almost. The melodies are pretty, but the chords are basically 6, 2, 5, 1 everywhere. 6, 2, 5, 1, go up a 4th. Play a minor on the 4, do a 1, 6, 2, 5 again. So I was learning all these songs and reading the lead sheets and just seeing the melody in my mind. And then, before I even touched the piano, I already could play it in my mind. And then I could transpose it to any key I wanted to. Because it was just numerically mastered. It wasn't letter mastered. I think that's a nice little catchphrase to end on. So hopefully this video has been of use to you, and you'll be able to study your songs and play your songs in a different way than perhaps you originally did know them. Because many people know, I've talked to many people who know lots of songs, but they don't really know how it's constructed, so they could never transpose it to another key because they don't really realise, oh, it's this progression. So they haven't thought about it in numbers, in other words. So think about it in numbers, not letters, and it will help you a lot. There you go. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my video management website, World Pianism Syllabus, perhaps Patreon, and all my playlists. Request welcome. And see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.